We're on.
We're live.
We're live.
And we've changed the scene again.
We have changed the scene again. This is now my bedroom.
Which is actually really fitting for this topic, because that's exactly what I was talking about, of like the shifting ground and how to flow with it. So what we're doing with the format is keep changing the container or the format, but
which is similar,
staying fluid with the conversations.
Fluid. Yes. These guys don't know the topic yet, or even the title, or who you are. Technically, right, or who I am, maybe.
Okay, so what if we did the whole episode and like did all of that at the end?
They might not want to watch.
Well, what if that's like the suspense? What are we talking about?
Do you know what the topic is? By the end of this 11 minutes and 11 seconds, you will know what the topic has been, and there will be a test on that. My name's Kara-Leah, though, and this is Melissa Billington. And this is What is the Real, episode 6, and we've shifted location, we're playing, we're experimenting, and we're in my bedroom now, which is a pretty awesome bedroom, and I'm sitting in my new favourite toy. I know Melissa is jealous.
Yeah, this is how you set it up, so I'm hoping that we get to swap.
We can definitely swap. Sharing's caring, right? Sharing's caring.
Yeah, I've been hearing that a lot lately.
Do people mean it when they say it?
It's been one person, and I think he does mean it.
He does he?
So, changing scenery, changing the terrain, and how much we try to control it. So what I was thinking about was riding a horse, and how if you don't become the horse, if you don't move with the horse.
Can you demonstrate on our horse? Voila, we have a horse.
Let's see.
You have to go sideways to demonstrate.
So if you...
Okay.
So if you become the horse, then you're moving with the horse's body, and there's no separation. But if you stay rigid in your body, then you end up, as the horse is doing this, you're like, well, you know, trying to hold on. Whereas becoming the horse is much more compelling. However, it's not necessarily what we do. So I was feeling like...
It's not what you do?
In life. It's not necessarily what we do. Yeah. It's like, so using that imagery to find how we become more united with the rhythm and the flow, and that creates the harmony.
Creates harmony. Yes. Oh my God. Okay. So there's so many things I want to reference on what you just said.
Right.
The first is that, isn't the ball fun? It's so fun. Oh my God.
Yes.
I'm just going to sit like this now. So we just fell into this for a moment. One of the reasons for these particular videos, this reality TV show, to discuss what is the real, is it's part of starting to highlight the new paradigm, or a different way to engage with reality. And one of the foundations of this different way to engage with reality is letting go completely of all external control and management. So no longer seeking to control other people, and no longer seeking to manage other people or circumstances. It's simply showing up and coming from this place of, if this is so, how do I want to respond to this? And taking full ownership of one's own stuff and just doing you, like literally doing you, right? Instead of trying to do all the other people and arrange all the other people.
I was just being, a 6-year-old or whatever, a 13-year-old doing you.
Doing you. Can I do you?
No, do yourself.
Do yourself. Well, if everyone just did themselves, it would be so much easier.
Well, but then, what would be the question that would arise from that is that if I stick with doing my stuff, then it's constantly keeping an awareness of interference, right? How much I'm interfering with somebody else's stuff. The way that I've been saying this for myself the last year or so is stay in your lane. Like sort of the swimming pool thing of like, or a track field. It's like, this is my lane.
What I see with a lot of people, and I have to say particularly women and relationships, is how much the women are attempting to control and manage their partner. They're trying to figure out what they need to say in order to get them to do this.
manipulation.
Right, it is in essence manipulation, and that's what I mean. Like, it's old paradigm living. You control and manipulate everyone around you so they behave the way you want them to behave, so you can have the outcome that you want to have. Whereas stepping into this new way of being, there's there's no attachment to outcome. Right? There might be a clear sense of what I would prefer to experience, but I'm not attached to it, and neither am I trying to control and manipulate everyone around me to get to that place.
But that's also, but that is also a huge challenge for most people, is to let go of attachment to the outcome. It's that dynamic, that dance all the time of aligning and loving and desiring something that isn't evident in the way that you envision it right this second, and yet letting go of your attachment to how it fulfills itself. I mean, that's huge for people.
It is huge, and yet
for me too.
Yeah, I guess I made a practice of it over the last 10-15 years to let go of attachment to things, because I saw how much suffering it was causing.
Right.
It was like so evident and so clear, like I know the Buddha said it. He was one of the first dudes to realize it. He's like, oh, attachment causes suffering. We know that on an intellectual level, but to actually start really feeling and seeing that, and then making a choice, going, you know what, I get it. I understand now, and I'm going to let go of attachment simply because I don't want to suffer anymore. And part of that is control and manipulation, right? And that's been an interesting journey as well. But I feel like that's too big a journey to go into when we have 11 minutes and 11 seconds to talk about what we're talking about.
Well, so when you found yourself suffering, whatever that looks like, I mean, I imagine
feeling
crying,
like absolute shit
is often part of it, right? So when you found yourself crying, suffering, how in that moment do you let go of attachment and shift the suffering? I mean, so have you found that that awareness of letting go of attachment has helped you shift the amount of time that you're in suffering? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, there's two aspects. There's kind of like constantly letting go of attachment as a practice, and then there's noticing in the moment when I suddenly begin to get tense or rigid. Go back to what you're talking about, right? Because the moment that I get tense or rigid, I know it's because I've started to attach to reality being a particular way.
Yeah.
Concrete example. So I'm out with my son on Saturday. We're going somewhere. We have to walk. He's whining, and it's just like he's really whining. He's good at whining. He's got the whining down. And what I noticed in me is I started to feel angry. And at first I was like, that's because he's dumping his whiny energy all over me, and the anger is a natural boundary coming up because I don't want to receive his whiny energy. And then I realized, actually, no, the anger is coming about because I don't want to be experiencing a whining child. And so I'm getting tense because I want something different from what's occurring. And the moment I realized that, then I reframed it, and then I was like, oh, okay, cool. So this is simply a training right now, Amazon style, right? This is a training for me to be able to hold on to my vibration and my energy and my joy and my bliss, even though there is this whining energy coming at me. And the moment I did that, there was a full acceptance of what was occurring.
You stayed in your lane.
I stayed in my lane, exactly. Yeah. I made it all about me. I stayed in my lane, I softened, and I began to play the game. We talk a lot about gamifying this. Began to play the game of how can I stay in my bliss and my joy while this child is just dumping his whininess all over me. And then it was fun, then it was fun. And so for me, that's a really solid example of I wasn't trying to control him. I let him be where he was. Okay, you want to, I named it. I said, you're whining right now and you're causing all of your own suffering. If you can just let go of the fact that we have to walk and accept that we have to walk, you'll no longer be suffering.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I named it.
Yeah.
But I just let him be where he was. I didn't try and control him. I didn't try and dominate him. I didn't try and manipulate him.
Right.
I took care of myself.
Yeah.
And then I was able to stay in my joy and my bliss. So I love concrete examples, especially when they're relevant and recent.
Yes. And did he shift?
No, not really. I think some of the intensity might have gone out of it because he kind of realised that I was just doing my thing.
Yeah.
And once we got to where we were going to, then it all dropped away because we were in the place.
Right.
You know? But it was, what really shifted was my relationship to what was going on, in the sense that, yeah, me wanting to control the situation, control him, so that I had it the way I wanted it to be. And instead just accepted, all right, if it's this way, how do I want to be in relationship to it? I want to still be in joy, and I'm not going to let this take my joy away, which is empowerment.
So I feel like the control and management topic, and then what, you know, the word you just mentioned there, of relationship, you did before.
Yeah. I know.
So relationship,
I gotta stand, keep talking,
between the person and yourself, but also between yourself and the issue or the contraction.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely.
And so what, you know, and then bringing it back to what do you have any control over? I mean, this is definitely what I feel about, like, this is the only piece of earth I have any access to. This is my piece of earth. And so that's another way of saying to stay in this lane, that I'm looking after this from the inside out, or the outside in, or on all levels. So in terms of what I have any control over, it's only this. So I don't ultimately have any control over anybody else. So even that idea of control and management, to me, seems illusory.
Seems quite... Well, it is. It's a total illusion. And yet, that's how most, or a lot of people, operate in the world. Especially in intimate relationships, especially with children, especially in family. Is always attempting to control and manipulate. And they don't always know they're doing it. Like, I didn't realize how much I was emotionally manipulating until I asked myself the question, because I was looking at relationship. I'm like, man, I feel like I'm always in relationship with really manipulative men. And then I'm like, hang on a minute.
You're the common denominator.
I'm the common denominator, totally. And then it was like, ooh, in what ways am I manipulative? And as soon as I asked that question, the answers started to flood through. And it was like, oh, that was manipulative. That, oh my God, and that. And it started to bring up the unconscious ways in which I was attempting to manipulate, sometimes quite successfully, to say. But it took a desire in me, a recognition of the toxicity, how toxic it is to control and manipulate each other. And my desire to clean up my stuff and not be in relationship to other people or circumstances in that way, because it pollutes. I don't want to be a polluter. And
do you know what? This is the thing that's really been on my mind lately, and I've just moved to the Auckland region, so I don't know if these signs have always been here, but the no illegal dumping. And so what I've been really aware of is people looking at their rubbish, their shit, their refuse, their trash, the things that we keep in storage in the back closet, in the garage, all of this stuff. And this has really been in my mind lately in the last few years, of how much that is a purification process in itself.
I want to dive deeper into that. I'm aware that we're at 12 minutes, so we've done our 11 minutes, 11 seconds on this one. So we'll wrap this one up, and next week we'll be back to talk about managing your toxic unconscious waste.
Will we?
We will. Over and out.